Hey yo, it's your boy Sam Duke, and I am actually here by myself. My co-hosts aren't with me today, but we are here for another episode of You Good Bruh. And fortunately for me, I still got really two really good bruhs with me today. I got my brother from another mother, Tim Patterson. I've known him since elementary school. If you got anything you want to, promote, say, you can go ahead and say it right now, so we can, get that out the way prior to.
Cool, man. Yeah, I basically got two businesses I want to shout out. The first one is Brand New Apparel is my line. Um, I've had that for about a year, so y'all look that up on Instagram. It's under what_ceiling. And the second one is Rain Carriers, which is basically a business transport.
Okay, all right. Well, y'all check that out. And I have my frat brother, my homie, Avery of We Climb Counseling. I'm putting you out there. Go ahead and put yourself out there, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sam, man. It's a pleasure to be a part of this platform. Been wanting to do this for quite a while, but I'm here. Timing is everything. Again, my
Timing
name
is
is Avery
everything.
Rosser. I am the owner and clinical director of We Climb Counseling and Consulting, which is a outpatient mental health private practice based out of Snellville, Georgia. If you're looking for a therapist, you can book a session at weclimbcc.com. I know that a lot of things is going on right now that's affecting everybody's mental wellness. So if you need someone to talk to, definitely contact us. You can follow us on IG at weclimbcc. Also today, I am doing a live Instagram panel discussion or a discussion on race-based trauma. White terror don't sleep. Shout out to Meek Mills for that.
That's a Wale.
Wale, sorry,
Yeah.
Wale. Sorry, Wale.
You know Wale call you out on that, man.
For sure, man. For sure. I was just listening to Meek Mill. It was in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Wale for that. So I'm doing that in conjunction with one of my brothers, man. Dwayne White, who is a doctoral student at the University of Auburn. It's going to be a great event. Again, it's Instagram Live at 7 p.m. Follow me at Counselor number 4 Life on IG, and just check it out. It's at 7 p.m. A lot of great conversation.
Yes, sir. I mean, look, check it out for sure. Look, Avery is one of the dopest out here doing it, especially in the therapy game. I know a lot of therapists, and they all kind of look up to him and the way that he's moving. And and a lot of people think that it's a myth that black men are in that game. Look, not only are black men in the game, they're actually, in my opinion, running the game. They're
for sure.
being most.
Yeah. Let me get another shout out.
Go ahead.
Shout out to the Counseling Brothers of Atlanta. What that is, that's the organization that I helped start. We are a group of independent practitioners, black male counselors in Atlanta. You can follow us on IG at the CBOA, which is the Counseling Brothers of Atlanta, the CBOA. On IG. We got a lot of great things coming, so y'all be on the lookout for that. So a bunch of black male clinicians. Again, we do exist, and we are running Atlanta.
And y'all are running Atlanta, and what I appreciate about y'all is y'all are the most versatile of the bunch. Y'all go about the way y'all doing y'all counseling, the way y'all doing y'all outreach completely different. And I really feel like eventually it's going to change the game. And so that's that.
That's good.
Yeah, that's that on that. Unfortunately, I have to mention this because of what's going on in the current climate. Rest in peace to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, still fresh, and literally we are living in a time where it's what I would consider chaos is the new normal right now. And
as they say, it's getting real, right?
It's getting real, yes.
Sure.
And 2020 is throwing us a lot of curveballs, but today I think we're gonna have a little fun. And I wanted to do this right now in this time because it's like I have so much serious content coming out, but it's like we kind of need to take a break from just the straight race issues that we have right now, and get back to some of the other things we have going on. Avery, you don't know this, but me and Tim, You know, last week went back and forth on a topic that was we found it was very interesting, right?
Super touching, apparently.
It was super touching. Tim, well, to give you some background, Russell Wilson and Sierra, you know, they're married now, and you know, Sierra's the first father of Sierra's child is the famous rapper Future, and you know, Russell Wilson has been in baby Future's life, which is the child that Sierra and Future have together, for quite some time now. I'm not sure how old he just turned, but he's been around for a while, and he did an Instagram post where, you know, he basically thanked baby Future for allowing him to be a part of his life and appreciating the growth that goes with being a part of his life, and he signed it as, you know, Daddy loves you. And just to be clear, I brought Tim and I brought Avery on the show because they are both in the position where they are playing father or being a father to, you know, children that are not biologically theirs. And so you know, and so Tim, you know, posted a post that said, I don't want to quote you, Tim. You want to go ahead and say what you posted?
I mean, basically, I just called him a sucker. I called Russell Wilson a sucker because of what he said. Because just basically on that stamp, everything he never said that, you know what I mean? It would have never. It's so crazy.
Be clear. What was the stamp? He said, "Daddy loves you," right?
Yeah, Daddy loves you.
Okay. And you said there's a big old step in front of that daddy. You hold on one second.
You know what I mean? So,
you're not.
It's a huge step in front of that, though, man. You have to. The thing with me is, like I said to you, you know, and the 200 other people apparently that it was like, it's just a respect thing for me because, you know, like you said, I am in a situation, so it's like the kids never called me dad. I mean, they've called me Tim from the start, so I don't see the urge to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not because their dad is present. He ain't the best guy. You know what I mean? He isn't. I don't like him personally, but just as a respect, as a man, you know what I mean? That's their dad, and you know, it's certain lines that you just don't cross. Like, I'm not gonna claim him as mine. Like when we're in public and someone assumes they're mine, I'm not gonna correct them either. You know what I mean? But just for me to say it, to be like, to hell with your dad. I know he's in the picture, man, but I'm your daddy. It's like, as a man, that should make you feel some type of way as a man. The fact that you lack that, if you lack that, then you're a sucker, like I said.
Okay. And Tim, can you elaborate on your situation first? Like, just make it clear to people like where you're at as far as your situation is concerned.
Well, I've known my wife since we were like 13. But, you know, life happened, you know, we went our separate ways or whatever, and she ended up with a guy, and they had 2 kids. And I came along when they were, I want to say like 3 and 4 years old.
Okay.
So they were at the start, you know what I'm saying, pretty much. And they'll be 9 and 10 this year. So, you know, I've been around. But with their dad, it's more of, he's like, you know, I won't call you for a couple weeks, but I'll show up at your birthday with all this stuff. And so, you know, I'm here, you know what I mean? Like, daddy with all this crap, even though, you know, and it's like when he come down for the birthday, it was a year, just for an example. It was a year where he came down for his son's birthday and he did nothing. I hung up all the banners. I hung up all the games. I played all the games with him. I did everything. And he stood there and watched the Ohio State game in the back room. That's the type of dude he is. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason, truth be told, the only reason I hadn't been on top of his head is because my wife told me not to. Because I don't like that. I don't like when you tell kids, oh, I'll be there, and then don't show up. I don't like that.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So look, Tim. Now we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk to Avery real quick.
Cool.
Avery, can you elaborate on your situation? I unmuted you. Good.
All right, Tim, that's a very interesting perspective. But so for me, my wife and I have been married for almost 4 years now. DJ, which is our son, hence I have a different perspective than Tim. I've been in his life since he was 5 and he's 11 now. And DJ's biological father is not as active in his life. Quite like Tim, we call them holiday dads. That they come around during those special occasions and come with all of the gifts and things of that nature. I've been an advocate for his dad to be in his life. I've advocated with my wife to say, hey, if he wants to be a positive influence, by all means, allow him to do it. It's okay. DJ can have 2 dads. A point that I would make later on. It's a plus. He has 2. And I would never want to make it appear that I'm trying to replace anyone. If his dad again wants to be that person in his life, be a positive influence in his life, be there and be an active father, then don't deny DJ of that opportunity to truly get to know his dad. However, unfortunately, that has not been the case with his dad. Again, it's more so kind of like sporadic type of appearances and things of that nature, which truly affects the child when you're not there, when you're just kind of like in and out. That sense of instability creates issues. So, but I've been in DJ's life for about 6 years now, going on 7 years now.
And I also share with Avery's perspective to the point, and this is the point that me and Tim kind of argued a little bit. The way I feel about it is this, I'm not in a situation where, I, have any other man in my children's lives. I'm married to my wife. That's our dynamic. However, as a man, if I was to not be in the picture, or if I was to pass, or if me and my wife was to separate and she was to find another man, the way I feel, and this is just the way I feel, the biggest respect that you can be for me and my family, or to me as a man, is to treat my children as if they were yours. That is the most respectful thing. And it gets to the point where I ask myself, like, what's in a title? What's in the name dad? And I don't want to diminish what comes with being a dad, because I am a dad. Right. However, I also understand I come from a space where I grew up without a father, or without a dad, so to speak. But I did have a lot of men, Tim's dad being one of them, that played a very, very, very important role in my life, and stepped in places where there were gaps, and I just feel as if the name, and it's funny because I think that me and Tim actually agree with the fact that the name doesn't matter that much, except for the fact that he doesn't want anybody else that's not the dad being called the dad, which is weird, because for me the name doesn't matter at all. What matters to me is that you're taking care of the kid to the best of your ability, and you have the desire to be the dad and the father figure in that child's life when I'm not around. And literally, there are people that have issues with safety when there's the situation is broken up. Do you have issues with, like, you don't know what this man is going through? You don't know if he's beating the kids. You don't even know him, as a person. And so from my perspective, the fact that, Russ is making the strides. And of course, this is what we see. I don't know, the behind the scenes. I'm going to be honest with what we see. But, the fact that he's making the strides matters more to me than whether or not he says daddy loves you or stepdaddy loves you, and so that was the point that, me and Tim just couldn't really agree. And so what I find interesting is in both of your cases, it just seems as if there is a less active, father figure. And another point of contention that we argued was, Future, is probably, he would fall into that category, in my opinion.
He probably would.
Yeah, he would probably fall into that category. And what I found a lot of women doing on Tim's post, where they were not having it.
Right.
They were not having it at all. And so I would like to ask you guys, what do your significant others think about that?
Want me to go first, Tim?
Yeah, you can go first.
As far as me saying that I am DJ's father, my wife supports it 110%. Because yet I am not his biological dad, I picked up the mantle. I ran with it. I accepted the responsibility, all of the responsibility that comes along with marrying her. And a part of that responsibility was caring for, loving for, teaching, grooming, mentoring, molding the son she had with another man. This was nothing. I made it completely clear that my intentions, and I wrote this down. You can't see it, but intent. I think intent is important. My intentions were never to replace anyone, but to add to. Right? And because of that, my wife respects it 110%. I've never, I've never required DJ to call me dad, right? There have been times where I kind of maybe felt like, okay, like if he did it, fine. If he doesn't, that's also fine. He understands who I am in his life.
Right.
And that's all that matters, right? He understands what my role is in his life. Yeah. And for that, my wife has been super appreciative of me taking that position.
Okay, I mean, I can respect that. Like I say, my wife as well, she doesn't, I'm gonna say it like this, because of their relationship, you know what I mean? Because even though it shouldn't have anything to do with your relationship, it does because of the kids, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So she was more so on the thing where, because you know how I am about just flat out respect. Like, Avery, I'm gonna ask you can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
I'm gonna assume you have both your parents, right?
Nope, both passed.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sorry. I meant like when you growing up, both of them were in the house.
No, raised by mom. Dad was in and out of jail due to petty crimes and drugs.
Okay. Do you feel that molded you in a way? And
of course. Right.
Okay. And it made you, look at life the way that you can only see things for a while. I mean, because you're obviously an educated brother, but you know what I'm saying? It instinctively, it
shaped my perspective on things.
Right. Okay. So, and like Sam said, I had both my parents the entire time, and they're older. So my mindset on life is through the eyes of people who were born, you know what I'm saying? Through the people who live through things that we could never imagine. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like Sam's mom, who has her, she has her life, and she taught those values to Sam, et cetera, but they're not going to be the same as my parents. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
So, and my dad has, a presence for me, because he was there. So I can't imagine even if I we're just gonna stay on Future because I'm gonna just keep it at hand. We know he's not gonna be there because of his job or his career. We can't say that he wouldn't be there if he wasn't that. Like if he was a regular guy, like if he was one of us, he had a job and he wouldn't be there. We're just going off of his life because that's what we see. We see him go, from place to place by himself. I mean, a lot of entertainers do that. You know, that's just not him. But just for the sake of the argument, my point was, if you see him like take pictures with his son and take his son places, which he has done, I mean, it's on, you know, it's on Google. Don't take it upon yourself to try. I'm not gonna say he did it on purpose, because he seems like a real whimsical guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem like he has a real, you know what I mean? He's not gonna, I guess, do anything on purpose to like hurt anybody's, you know, ego or, you know, feelings. But you just don't. It's a line that you don't cross. You know what I mean? Because Dad, like you say, Sam said that, you know, it's just a name, but for me, it's not. So I guess that's why it hit me a different way, because I love it. Like, me and my wife we have our own kids. We have 2 daughters that we just had. So it makes me feel good, like hearing the name Dad. Like, it's important enough. It's important to me to say that, or not to say it's not to you guys, but it just means to me that that's my name. That name can't be replaced. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want, you know, God forbid, just me as a man feeling that way. You know, man, we got pride.
Yeah, I get it. I understand the pride, and
You know what I'm saying?
you know what else I'm curious about, you know, because you guys have kids that y'all you know, she has kids separately from, you know, the biological kids that y'all have made together. And so what do you think that dynamic will be like when, you know, because clearly you're the person that deals with them on a day-to-day level. So is the dynamic such that the other kids call you Mr. Tim and your kids are like Dad?
Nah. Well, my kids say Dad all the time. Well, only one, because
or your stepkids, like, do you go?
No, they call me Tim. They call me, like, we'll all be together and they'll say Tim and then she'll say Daddy. Sometimes she'll say Tim because she's trying to be an asshole. Like, she does that.
Okay.
Like, she'll say Tim and then laugh and then run off, and then she'll be like, Daddy, Daddy. Like, she does it because she sees them do it, but she's just not at the age to where she understands what goes on. Like, they go up there to see his side of the family, like, for the summer. They're there now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And just for example, I mean, in past, when they go up there, I mean, he's just not there. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother thing. Yeah. But
and
you know,
and to add to your point, you know, you're saying that we can't say that if Future wasn't a star that he wouldn't, you know. I don't know, man. I can't really, and I'm trying my best not to be judgmental, but I am going to be. What I will be is I will be
straightforward.
Straightforward, and we're going to be logical here, right?
Right.
You know, Future has a lot of baby mothers. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that that's uncommon for his line of work, but what I'm saying is, it's very, you're dad full time and you're there, you're with your kids every night, and it's hard being there. You know what I'm saying? Even being there is hard to be a dad. So imagine baby mothers that are or mothers of your children that are all over the place, you know, the coast, and you will have to travel, you know, to do the work that you're doing. If anybody should be thankful that someone is loving their kids, you know, to the degree that Russell is attempting to love Future's child, it should be Future, you know, because he has 8 different situations with, you know, and potentially 8 different stepfathers out there, maybe not.
But you know, only one of them is Russell Wilson, though.
I mean, you don't know that. You just see Russell Wilson, but you don't know that.
Correct. I think, if I may, there's a lot of there's so many different variables to this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it, as Tim stated earlier, I've been taking notes as Tim been talking and just kind of like pointing out certain things. Pride, for one, right? Masculinity is big, especially within our culture, Black culture, right? That sense of masculinity, sometimes toxic and sometimes it's not.
Absolutely.
But the masculinity of the pride of having someone else refer to my child as dad other than me. So there's a pride thing. Yeah. Pride has nothing to do with the child. That's a personal thing as a man, right?
Yeah.
Also, personal, right? Tim referenced just kind of like his upbringing and how that shapes his perspective, and quite the same as mine. My daddy wasn't there. I was even the type of person that I remember, as in my younger days, saying this whole thing, man, I would never date a girl with a child, right? I never wanted to be that stepfather, have that title of stepdad. And it wasn't until my line brother John accepted the responsibility of raising his girlfriend's son as his own. That takes a lot for a person to do. To step into a situation and say, you know what, I know that I didn't create this from a biological standpoint, but to love this other human being as my own, accepting this human being for everything that they are, good and bad, pouring myself into, it's a big responsibility, because the simple fact of it is this: if you want to be technical about it, you don't have to, right? This isn't really something that you have to do, right? You don't have to say, okay, I'm going to step in and I'm going to raise this child as if I created it. It came from my flesh, right? It came from my sperm, my test, whatever. Yeah. I don't have to do this. But when you step into that role, as being a father and understanding that what all falls under that father's umbrella, right? The success, the failures, the struggle, the nightmares, the all of the experiences. And this is something that sounds like Russell has done. Again, I don't know what the depths of future relationship is with baby Future, right? We can only really go off what we see on social media. Future may be one of those fathers that doesn't really like to post stuff like that on social media. I don't know, right? We can only speculate, right? Mm-hmm. We can only speculate, right?
Yeah.
I would have imagined that perhaps maybe Russell and Future had a dialogue, because as Tim stated, Future may feel the same way Tim, right? May felt, kind of like slighted by it, but we don't know the relationship between Future and Russell, and maybe they've had a conversation. Maybe Future is like, listen, man, I respect what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're his father. I'm his father. He got two fathers. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's that line of respect that they have an understanding of, that we may not be privy to.
Yeah.
Right. And I know for me and my son, man, we had a conversation about my role, what he see me as, how he feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Everything, right? We have a relationship. We aim to have a relationship with our kids that creates a open dialogue, right? Son is extremely smart, right? And I am super grateful for his biological father, because he has something to do with creating this amazing person. So he will always have that respect for me, no matter if he does whatever he does, just the fact that he has something to do with creating this amazing human being. I would have respect for him in that way.
Yeah.
I will always tell DJ, I said, listen, you would never hear me say anything. I'm not going to say anything negative about your dad. Like, you would never hear me say, I might think it, you know what I'm saying? I might think that he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't shit or whatever the case may be, but you would never hear that come from me. Right. And I told him, I said, I would never want to replace your father. Right. I'm just kind of want to step into this role and let you know that, listen, it's okay to have two, right? The more the merrier. But I also ask him, I say, how do you feel about this? Even when it comes to the kind of like the using the word dad, like calling me dad, because he calls me Avery, right? He calls me Avery when we're in the house. When he gets around his friends, he's introducing me to his friend. He said, that's my dad. Right. So I get both, and we have a conversation. I asked DJ, I said, hey, how do you feel calling me dad? Like, he said, to be honest, he said, it's confusing. He said, it's confusing. He says, I don't want to make and this came from him, and this time he's 10. He says, I don't want to make my biological dad upset if he hears me call you dad.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I respect that. Like, That's completely fine. If you're not comfortable at this particular point, that's completely fine. I don't even care if you're ever comfortable. You know, and I know what my role is, right? And that's all that matters, right? So, you know, for me, like looking at Russell and seeing what he's doing in Baby Future's life, I see him as stepping into a position and saying, you know what? Whether I am stepdaddy or daddy is still within that term, right? That level of responsibility is still there, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I would probably imagine. I don't think that he may not even. Some people may feel like he don't even need to get approval from Russell or from Future to say, "Yo, you mind if I say that I'm his dad?" Right? Because he may not feel that way, right? You know, he may not feel like he needs that sense of that he needs that okay from Future to refer to himself as Future's or Baby Future dad. When he and I agree at some point, like I don't need DJ's biological dad to tell me what I am to DJ. I've been here
for a minute,
I
right?
am in the trenches every day. I am in the trenches every day with DJ, walking him through everything, right? In the trenches every day, loving him just as it was something that I created, right? I would not love my biological daughter with his mother any different from him. I would never treat any of them any different. So I would never refer to them as anything different.
Right.
I would never say daughter, step.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. So you're gonna keep it consistent from your.
I'm gonna keep it consistent.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep it consistent, and that's just me personally.
And you know what's funny, because that's the reverse of the actual conversation, because there's the kids calling you dad, but then there's you. What do you call the kids?
Exactly.
And so Tim, what about you? What do you call the kids? How do you?
I just say my kid. I always refer to them as my. I always say, but that's more so because I just don't. You know, I don't like people in my business.
Mm-hmm.
But like when we're around people and people have assumed I'm their dad because we're both light skinned and you know that whole shit. So it's like, oh, this is your dad here. And before he would just say, oh, that's my step. Well, first it was my mom. That's my mom's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like 5, right?
Yes.
So it's like, you know, whatever. I ain't really care because that's who I was. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know, whatever. And then it went from that to when we get around to when we went to another school. Oh, your dad's blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, no, that's my stepdad. Or whatever. And now he just doesn't correct people at all. But he never calls me that though. Because of like what Avery said about him having have the conversation, like, you know, I don't want to say it because I feel like it'll be a slight against my dad.
Yeah.
But that instinct, that thought right there from a child, you know what I'm saying? For you not
I get
right. So it's like that's where it was for me. So, you know, I never condemned him for it, and I never like, well, I never even questioned him about it. My wife talked to me about it. Like when we were all just sitting in the car one day, and they were like, "Are y'all comfortable calling Tim dad?" And they were like, "No," because that, you know, well, you know, we have a dad or whatever, and it's like, I mean, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? And they've been around me long enough for me to rub off on them, I guess, enough to be like, sometimes the truth is just uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? If you feel a type of way, just let it be known. But to go back to what you said earlier about being, you know, talking face to face as a man and being like, maybe he is cool. Maybe that's why he hadn't said anything about it. I mean, that might just be the case. But from face value, it's like, man, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
It's like off top. It's just like, you know what? Like, why he's so pressed, right? Why he's so pressed?
Like, why would you say that? You know what I'm saying? Because and for that point, it's like, because me and the dad we have never had that conversation. He's never sat down with me and talked to me at all, and I still wouldn't do that You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because I've talked to my wife about that earlier on, not so much now, because I mean we 5, 6, 7 years in the game now, it's over with.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But it's like, especially when you have a daughter, you know what I'm saying? If I know I got a daughter that's gonna be living with a dude that I've never seen, the least you could do is go talk to the dude.
Yeah,
and
we're
be
gonna
like,
have a conversation.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I just it's some dudes that I just don't psychically. I mean,
Yeah, you just don't understand the mindset.
You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't you do that? So when you don't do that, and then you come around me and try to act as if everything's like up in the air, like, oh well, we cool, and try to talk and all that, and I'm like, man, dude, I'm not even finna go down with you like that. I'm just gonna mind my business. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna act like that in front of the kids, because I don't want them. Because one day it's gonna all be out in front of everybody.
And
you know what I'm saying? I don't want that.
And to your point, I think this is where we can kind of come full circle a little bit. What is the most difficult part about being a step parent,
right,
or stepfather?
For me personally, is there are times where DJ he doesn't do it often, but sparingly, he may have questions about like his biological dad, right? And oftentimes, like I struggle with trying to formulate the kind of words to kind of explain what's going on, because DJ is super intelligent, like a gifted student, super intelligent, and by no means is he's kind of like dumb, but he's still a kid. So there are certain things that he might ask that I may not be able to kind of articulate. So oftentimes I have to go to my wife and say, listen, how do we want to kind of like go about this, right? Mm-hmm. And there have been times like when the dad will come into the picture, mainly during like DJ's birthday is December 17th. Obviously Christmas around the same time. So that's mainly when his dad kind of comes into the picture, right? And he'll try to reach out, and he'll reach out or whatever the case may be. And DJ gets super excited, right? Yo, my dad is gonna get me this, my dad is gonna get me this. But in the inside, I'm like, man, if this guy, if he doesn't follow through, man, like if he's not consistent, bro, like we got some problems for real, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's for me has been the most difficult thing, is the fact that he comes in when it's convenient. And I understand, especially given my job, my passion, how mentally that can affect a child moving forward. That's been the most difficult thing to me. And I've always I talked to his dad. Me and his dad, there was one time his dad reached out, haven't heard from his dad in 3 years, bro. Reached out, wanted to kind of get to know. I told my wife, I said, let me speak to him. I said, I need to speak to him. We need to have a conversation. Man to man, we need to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I had to talk to, I said, listen, man, I have nothing against you. I don't know you. I have nothing against you. Right? And I told him, I said, listen, I don't respect the fact that the first time I met you and I tried to shake your hand, you just kind of like, like brushed me off in a sense. You know what I mean? Like there was never a conversation. But I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like at this particular point in my life and my family's life, we got to talk, bro. Like if, you know what I'm saying? Especially you being a part of his life, we need to know each other. We need to talk and just kind of have some sort of understanding. I told him, I said, listen, if you're going to do this, really be a part of his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be in and out. Don't be in and out. Don't be inconsistent, because that only hurts him. I said, it hurts him when you're inconsistent. I said, if you don't plan on being consistent in his life, just leave him alone. Just let him go. You know what I'm saying? Just back off. If you're going to just be this pop in, pop out when it's convenient for you, because that hurts him. Just let him go. And he was like, he respected that conversation. And I thought at that point that, we had made some headway, because I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to my wife and I'm going to advocate for you being in DJ's life. That's how much I think that a father should be a part of their child's life. Yeah. I don't want to create this reoccurring pattern of behavior system to where fathers that want to be a part of their kid's life aren't a part of their kid's life because of the baby mom. Right? So if I can help advocate for you, if you can sit here and say and make a promise to DJ that you're gonna be active, yo, you have my blessing, bro. Like by all means, yo, here's his schedule for his games. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third, blase. We're gonna be a team. But if you're not gonna if you can't do that, then just back off. Yeah. So that's pretty much been the hardest thing for me.
What about you, Tim? What's the hardest?
I mean, quite frankly, it's the same, but I mean, I guess it's the same destination. We just travel different streets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where because, like I say, we never had that conversation, me and their dad. There was no. I've tried to wait that out because I mean, Sam, you know me. I'm not a real patient dude.
Yeah.
Stuff that they can be handled. You know what I'm saying? All this doesn't have to be as big as what it is, dude. It's like, look, y'all had a relationship. It's over. I mean, you already got a girl. She with a dude, and we obviously getting serious, especially when we get married or engaged or whatever. It should be some golf in your head. Like, man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But see, dealing with dudes who are emotionally just not there. They're just not there. Like, they don't want to, it's, those dudes who feel like, oh, well, I always got a baby mama. So, like it's high school or something.
Yeah. It's just like.
It's not, it's over with, bro.
It's over,
I don't know how because she was living in Ohio. Like, they're in another state. She moved down here. So it's like what part of, I mean, when didn't you get it? When she packed the moving van up? Because I flew up there and helped her do that. You know what I'm saying? What part of it don't you get? But if you're not going to talk to a dude about who's living with your kids, then you're a coward. That's just what it is. You're emotionally afraid of what's happening. You don't want, just let it go. So, but then now you're affecting the kids where Avery was saying, if you're going to be somewhere, it's always an excuse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so for me, I don't even think about him at that point. It's not even about you flaking. It's about what you're doing to them.
Yeah.
So now, mainly your son, because he, that's your kid, that's your dad. Son and father that's a special thing.
Yeah, it's a superhero. It's a superhero.
So and like you said, with that conversation, like the words you try to come up with. Here's what I do, because we've had that conversation where I've had to tell him, like, when his dad will say, oh, I'll come this day, and then he doesn't show up, and then he does it another 3 or 4 times. And, it's like, he asked me one day and was like, he's like, Tim, he was like, why do grown-ups work so much? Because dad was like, oh, I got to work and all this. So I'm like, well, sometimes, man, people just make, they just make moves to where they want to make them. And sometimes those moves aren't in the best interest of everybody else around them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's a thing. It's a deal of not down talking their dad, because eventually, like you say, he's a smart kid. Like, Braylon's super smart. Like, he sometimes ain't got no common damn sense. But he's a smart kid, man. So and that's what I tell my wife, because she was worried about, them seeing, her in a type of way, because you know how it is with the trauma, if they argue about something and et cetera. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, just he's smart enough to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? When he gets older, and he's doing that now, like, he's realizing, oh, he just send me presents on my birthday, but won't call for a month. You know what I'm saying? Or be like, oh, well, I'll come to visit, and then don't come. You know what I'm saying? He's getting to that age. Well, Tim's here. Tim take me to the football practice. I coached his flag football team. Like, I don't look for the praise, but I expect him to acknowledge it, because of the way that we are raising him. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I mean, as someone that's not dealing with this, I have to tip my hat off to both of you, man, because it just seems like it is just it's a culmination, and it doesn't end, of a lot of just tough conversations. And, with kids, validation is big. And, you guys are kind of sitting and standing in the gap and having to build them up after, being, not necessarily broken down, but, it kind of tears children down when they're not able. I've experienced not having my father around, or having my father promise to come or do this and that and not show up. And so it takes some time for them to even get back to the point where they're remotely back okay. And I just think that I really, really want to. First of all, I thank y'all for coming on and displaying and exhibiting, what it's like to be real men and stepping up and doing what real men are supposed to do. And also for having those tough conversations, man, and even having this conversation, because I think that, perspective matters. I don't think there's a right and wrong way step, for even when I told you, I don't have an issue with it, because for me, you call him daddy, you call him his first name. All I care about is that he wants to care for you as if he was me. That's all I care about. He wants to care for you as if he was, you were one of his own. So, I think that if you guys have any final things or anything you guys wanted to, put out there.
Yeah, man. I've been working on Rain Carriers for about 7 months. I named it after my daughter. And she owns like 15% of it. So we've been pushing that. So we're gonna keep pushing that. The
That's
Instagram.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a business. That's my goal. I got 4 kids. Well, 2 of them, from previous, and 2 of that at mine. So I'm gonna put a business with each one of their names. I got 2 of them already. My brand new apparel is in my daughter Hazel's name, and so but anyway, I'm building those up. But those are Rain Carriers. It's Rain_Carriers 23 on Instagram, and what_ceiling, like the roof ceiling, on Instagram. And just check us out, man. We're gonna try to climb. I'm working with Black businesses in the local Atlanta area as well. That's that was basically the foundation of my whole business.
Okay.
I've been working with to help, because if I'm small, you small, we can grow big together. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So y'all, any local business, look me up. If y'all need the help, I will come through.
Hey.
Yes,
so this
sir.
is my daughter. This is Amora. Amora will be 1. When? When will you be 1? Sunday?
Hey, pretty.
Oh, man.
But for me,
so
man,
cute.
I appreciate this dialogue, man. I enjoy having these types of conversation about fatherhood. As it relates to fatherhood, we have another organization that me and one of my good friends, Anthony Rogers, started called Daddy Life Rock. Follow our Facebook platform, our movement at Daddy Life Rocks with an S. Just follow what we're doing, man. We're just trying to showcase exemplary fathers, man, stepfather, biological father. If you're an uncle and you're taking up that role, if you're a brother, you're taking that responsibility. We're just trying to highlight just fatherhood, man, and just show people that, you got fathers out there that are a part of their kids' life, and not just a part of it, but actively a part of their kids' life, man, and just trying to just redefine that stereotype within the Black community that the dad isn't in their kids' life. So follow that movement again. Check me out tonight, being accompanied by my boy Dwayne White on my social media, Counselor for Life. Number 4, as we talk about race-based trauma, White Terror Don't Sleep. Shout out to Wale. Got it right that time. Wale. And again, man, I appreciate this conversation, man. If you guys have, if those that are going to be watching this have any questions, feel free, man, to post, man, and we'll respond.
Yes, sir. All right. And until next time, man, if you need us, it's You Good Bro Podcast, IG, Facebook, You Good Bro Podcast at gmail.com, Twitter, YG Bro Podcast. And I really, really, really do appreciate you guys for sitting here having this conversation with me, man. I am Sam Duke, and I am good. Tim?
I'm good, man. Y'all be safe, bro.
All right. Avery?
I'm good, brother.
All right. Man, y'all take care, man. I appreciate y'all so much, man.
No doubt, man.
All right.